half the writers love it, half the writers despise it, because it's me, Seth, Tom, and Doug are two head writers, and it's a four votes. So the other writers in the room don't get a vote, so they hate us for it. But it has to be 3-1 to go in. So if it's 3-1, you just have to accept it. So if there's something you hate, like I will come back to the yellow submarine sketch that aired. I could not hate a sketch more. I don't find it funny. I don't see the humor. I don't know why. But I was outvoted, so I make it the best I can possibly make this thing that I hate. So you end up falling into that scenario a lot. But at the same time, there are a lot of sketches that are 2-2. We had a Ghostbusters rap that these writers wrote, and Eric and Jordan wrote this, and I thought it was brilliant. I voted for it. I'm pretty sure Tom voted for it. And the other two said no. And it will never see the light of day. To this day, I swear by that sketch. I wish it was there, but we'll never see it. So, yeah, fun voting process.
I have two questions. First question would be, obviously you've tackled Star Wars in terms of specials. Has there been any consideration, since Halloween is coming up, in doing possibly a Halloween sketch?
A Halloween special? Like, we've talked about doing a Halloween special.
There's a lot of source material there.
I'm trying to remember what season it was. It was either season 3 or 4, episode 4. It had like, I'm trying to remember. It had a whole bunch. It had the pumpkins in it. Yeah. The pumpkin sketch in it. We tried to make that a little more Halloween themed, and then we realized really quickly that there wasn't enough funny stuff that we wanted to do with Halloween. So we're like, it's a waste of time. So I think Christmas is more iconic for that. For us, not saying no. It's when you have the group of writers in the room, things will click in that direction, I think. But yeah.
Okay. And the second question is, Family Guy has taken several shots at you in your Star Wars special. When is Robot Chicken going to take a stab at them? And how did that come about?
I like to put it this way. Gosh, how do I even phrase this? It's one of those things where they're getting us press. So if they want to take the piss out of it, and we're on late night on Adult Swim, and they can triple our audience by just saying it on Fox, which gets like 15 million or 10 million views or whatever it is, God bless them. And on top of that, Seth MacFarlane's is awesome. Like, you hear his voice, and it says everything. His Emperor to this day is my favorite character. It's like his Santa Claus makes me smile. His Lino is like, oh my God. So you just have to, it's one of those things where I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me in a lot of ways. But I'm sure we'll do something Family Guy oriented. We have all those people on. We've had Neil on a ton of times. We have Alex Borstein on. We just like playing with those guys. Even Mike Henry's been on a bunch. Yeah, it's just fun. So, sort of. Come to our panel. What's next? I'm not allowed to say it here yet.
You've already talked about Lionel just now as one of the characters. You've done a lot of parodies of material that are now on Cartoon Network and have things that are characters that you can utilize from kind of within the same company. Now, do you ever get any flack from kind of internally, like, we don't want you to make fun of our own properties too much?
I think it goes back to what I was saying about Family Guy. I think it's the internal love is a great thing, because all you're doing, it's free promotion for all these other shows. If we make fun of something, again, it's like Saturday Night Live doing it. When you see something on Saturday Night Live that they're making fun of, it only brings and drives viewers to see what you are talking about, which I think is a great thing. So for the most part, Cartoon Network's like, here we go. We've got toy companies where they're like, here's our toys, make fun. It's awesome in that regard. Because again, it's just we're goofing around. We like to make fun of things lovingly because we have such an affection for these things. We're not like, hey, this fucking sucks and how terrible it is. So, yeah.
You guys do a lot of 80s and 90s cartoons. So do you guys usually go back and actually watch the show, like, okay, I'm going to take this character and see what happens if he meets this one, and like, similar to like the Super Friends that you guys did, and
yeah, I mean, we go back and watch a lot of the stuff. The worst part about it is we have a giant memory of all of this stuff. Where the collective group of us, it's hard to beat us in like geek off trivia contest. There's at least one of us that can answer a geek type of question. If you the best one I always see is like Seth. If you give him a G.I. Joe toy part, like a wrist or an arm, he'll be able to identify not only the character, but what year it came out in. So it's like you just sit there and it's mind-boggling. But yeah, we watch all this stuff for reference, and it's just again for us, it's how these characters would interact. That's the biggest thing that we always talk about, and it's kind of our catchphrase is it's taking these absurd environments and making them mundane. Is kind of how we kind of put together our humor. So,
with your stupid monkey videos on YouTube,
yes.
How did that all come about?
We realized that, like even Seth here, like my little Seth, was wearing the Super Monkey t-shirt. We never expected, we were a bunch of episodes into the season, and then they were like, hey, you have a title card at the end of Robot Chicken. You guys need a company. And I put your name on it, and we were like, uh-oh. So I remember, Seth was like, hey, we got to come up with something, what do you want? And I was like, what's your favorite word? And Seth's like, this is stupid. I'm like, stupid. And I was like, I like monkeys. And that's how it came about. It was a 3-second conversation. So we wrote that in, we made our company, and then we just put those title cards at the end. Adam Talbot started drawing these things for us, and it was great. And then from that, people just started being interested in this little character who's become kind of like a bad robot, or Gur-Arg kind of scenario, with Joss's company. It's like the same type of thing where that's what it turned into, and so YouTube was interested in producing a couple shorts, and it's kind of spiraled into that. And as far as how we did it, we just worked with some animators of ours who had an idea of how to mix live action in with stop motion. So it looks great.
It's been a long time since we've heard anything about this prospective Star Wars series you had with Seth.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's someone from Lucasfilm here. I'm not allowed to say anything. Working on it. Eventually. Talk about it eventually. I know, I'm sorry. It's the lamest of answers. It really is. Excited about it. Very excited about it. It gets more and more exciting. So, sorry for the lameness. But ask Seth at the panel. He's usually the guy who bites his tongue a lot more than me. Right there.
Okay, you mentioned Harrison Ford as your favorite sort of fan voice get. Has there been a toy or a toy line that you went after that didn't really get Robot Chicken at first, and then maybe came around later, or just didn't get it at all?
No, for the most part, we just make stuff. We don't get permission beforehand as long as it's cleared through legal as far as what is parody. That's the biggest thing, is you have to define what parody is. And again, freedom of speech gives you certain rights that you can and can't do. It's just making sure you understand those rights in order to be able to do it. But as far as like getting toys and things like that, we do a lot of stuff where we actually make the toys in house now, because when we actually use real toys, they break, and they break really quickly. So a lot of what you see looks like real toys, but underneath it's not. It's like wire armature with like plastic over it, and it just looks like it. So yeah, very different.
Thank you.
Have you ever done a sketch that the network said, this just won't do?
Yes, we did.
Which one was it?
2, actually. The first one I remember, we did a Power Rangers thing where we took kind of the colors and played off of the archetypes that you'd expect from that. And they were just like, this is just not appropriate. And they're like, and it's not funny. And we were like, yeah, you're right. So that did that very quickly. And the other one was our Tooth Fairy sketch. They told us we couldn't do it. Mike Lazo called us up, said there's no way we would let it air. Said it was not funny. We're like, you have to trust us on this. And he's like, no, honestly, this is the darkest sketch in television history. We're like, okay. We're like, give us 1 second. He came back, we rewrote it a little bit. He read it, added the little tag at the end. He's like, no. You guys are going to do this. We're like, we'll show the 3 different endings now, because we pitched 3 different endings. You just let us shoot it. And he's like, you can shoot it, but it's coming out of your budget. And if you guys don't end up, if it doesn't work, you guys have to find the money to still make this show. And we're like, okay. And I'll never forget, he called us up, and it was at that moment where he where Mike just said, I was wrong. He's like, this is the funniest thing you guys have done. And I put my foot in my mouth. And it was at that point where I think we understood how to work with our network so well, and we established a relationship, because it was early on in Adult Swim history, where it was just a good bonding experience with the head of the network. And you realize that he's a viewer just like everybody else, and that's what makes Mike so great. Is and that's why we love him. That's why all the shows on Adult Swim are so unique and so awesome. Is just because he has the vision to just say, take a chance. You succeed or fail, and I'll watch it. And if I just laugh, I'll know. Like, you just know as an audience if it works.
So has this experience taught you what your boundaries are?
His experience has definitely just opened us up to being more collaborative in coming up with the ideas that we have, and just knowing how to work with people. Where it's just like, hey, we can take chances. Let's see what happens. And yeah, I think it just, again, it just established our relationship with the network so well. And I think it's why they support us as much as they do, which is really nice. I was watching, why am I blanking all of a sudden on her show that was on?
Pushing Daisy.
What's that?
Was Pushing Daisy?
Pushing Daisy. I was watching Pushing Daisies, and I was going through my Wicked phase. Because yeah, so that's how that came about. I was like, I really like her, would you get her? But again, it's one of those things where it's just random. Like someone like Sarah Michelle Gellar and what's called Emila are credited in every episode. If you look at our credits, because they kind of started the show with us. Also, we were just messing around. They're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we were in every episode? We're like, sure. They have like joke credits in every episode. And then again, even with Wicked for me inspired the third Star Wars special, because I saw that in LA, and I was like, oh my God, if we were able, I called Seth up right after watching the musical. My wife's like, isn't this great? And I was like, she's like, let's talk about it. And I'm like, we can't talk right yet. I have to call Seth. And she's like, what? But it was the whole idea of seeing the Star Wars universe through the Emperor's eyes. I was like, I totally wanted to do that and have his viewpoint of how he was just misunderstood. And I thought that was such an interesting angle of, here's this guy running the entire universe, and he's just running a business. Come on, like, he's the CEO of a giant corporation. He doesn't understand all the tax things he has to deal with, like, and get into that. And then it kind of evolved from there, because working with Lucasfilm, of just like, it has to be bigger, and we had to make something a little bit more epic. But I remember pitching it and being like, yeah, sure. The one thing that I really wanted to do that they weren't keen on, we backed away from doing, so I wanted to make Vader the Emperor's son. Because immaculate birth, my ass. It was one step too far, and I couldn't get everyone in the room to bite on it, because it was just a little bit too, but I thought that would have made a fun little comedic thing. So, but anyway, that's my Wicked fanaticism. All right.
How much